While almost every film includes some sort of music, song, jingle or theme, most notably excluding 2007's No Country for Old Men, a differing sense of quality is highly noticeable when comparing film scores and soundtracks. Today I'll be covering what I think are some of the best uses of songs in film. A lot of the time, songs are used as a background element placed beneath the scene to match the mood. However, less often, songs are used to deepen the meaning and importance of other film features like characters, settings, and narrative flow. One example of a great use of music is the opening scene from Denis Villeneuve's debut feature Incendies, where Radiohead's You and Whose Army plays alongside the devastatingly raw and thought-provoking visuals. The scene initially depicts a picturesque Middle Eastern landscape before panning round into a room filled with armed men and unarmed, innocent young boys. As this happens, we get the needle drop, the ominous anthem plays out, and we're exposed to a disturbing scene. The sombre tone of the room is captured through Radiohead's song, further heightening the disturbing feeling. As well as the bleak depiction of this scene, Villeneuve used this popular song from the Western world to force us as viewers into a perspective of being an outsider, looking into a more brutal and confined lifestyle from our westernised point of view. For the use of this song alone, Incendies deserves to be mentioned when talking about great uses of a soundtrack. For a more in-depth view of what I've just briefly outlined, check out Fandor's The Radiohead Effect YouTube video, which not only explores the use of the band's songs in this film, but in a plethora of other great ones too. Another great use of music in film, and a personal favourite of mine, is Lou Reed's Perfect Day in Danny Boyle's 1996 film Trainspotting. The entire soundtrack for this film is deserving of a mention, Lust for Life in the opening scene, and Born Slippy in the final scene, but personally I think the most impactful use of a song is definitely this one, especially when paired with the subject matter of the film. As the protagonist, Renton's body, is overcome by the effects of heroin, he slowly and unconsciously sinks into the carpet in his flat. This surreal image is also followed through for the rest of the scene, where we, as the audience, are forced into Renton's perspective, still feeling the effects of heroin hours after consumption. This is shown through the two red blocks of carpet placed either side of the screen to mimic the feeling of being swallowed by the floor and not being able to get yourself out of it. Perhaps a metaphor for the entire film, overcome by addiction and therefore being blinded to the joys of early adulthood. The use of Perfect Day in the background to me is actually perfect, as Reed's almost dreary and deadpan voice, while singing in an emotional manner, lacks any form of emotion, as if the joys and happiness of life have been squeezed out of him, leaving only an empty shell of a voice, attempting to hit notes that he can seemingly no longer hit. This idea can be seen as a reflection of Renton, a young man who has had all pleasure and excitement of life corrupted and stolen from him due to his persistent use of heroin. Some people may also look at the use of Reed's song in the context of the artist himself, a controversial figure whose life was undoubtedly and admittedly affected by the use of amphetamines and opioids, much like our protagonist. For the final song I want to properly talk about, I'm going to head over to the Cornetto trilogy and zoom in on a particular scene from Edgar Wright's 2004 film Shaun of the Dead. The scene I want to highlight is during the third act, where the barman John is being attacked by Sean, Liz and Ed wielding pool cues set to the rhythm of Queen's anthem, Don't Stop Me Now. The importance of using such a fast-paced, feel-good song is to establish the film's genre, blending gory horror with light-hearted comedic elements. Contrasting an image so obscene and horrifying with a song so comforting and uplifting helps further demonstrate this unique pairing of genres that at the time the film came out was almost unheard of. The technique that Wright uses here is called contrapuntal sound, where the image on screen is entirely different to the music we hear in the background, creating a contrast. And while I know this use of music doesn't emphasise the importance of character or setting, it does reinforce and solidify the film's genre and tone. That's all I'm going to cover in this video, keeping it nice and short. Let me know if you'd like to see a part 2 in the comments, and thanks for stopping by. It would be highly appreciated if you subscribed to the channel and tuned into the next video. Goodbye for now.